Old Man Winter has done it again. Snow, storm, weekend. What do we do with weekends like this? Do we watch Empire Strikes Back? Probably. Do we watch Storm of the Century? Horses aren't the only thing she likes to ride when the weather is hot. Or do we beckon in spring weather? Do we call in summertime weather by listening to something that reminds us of summer? Yes, I'm talking about one of my top 5 favorite Kiss albums of all time. A bit of a guilty pleasure. That's right. My first Kiss record I ever bought as part of the community. Hot in the Shade. So in trying to bring in the summer heat, let's step back to my sophomore year in high school. 1989, October of 1989, the release of Hot in the Shade, one of my top 5 favorite Kiss albums of all time. Yes, I said that. One of my top 5 favorite Kiss albums of all time. I know it's not a good album, but it's very close to my heart. So tonight, I've done a video on Hot in the Shade previously, talking about nostalgia, talking about it was a pre-internet time and how fun and happy and jovial we all were listening to this record. I thought tonight, I'm gonna rate the tracks from worst to best. Hot in the Shade, 15 tracks in all. Let's have some fun. Kicking off the batch at the very bottom, number 15, Boomerang. Boomerang to me feels like a total Crazy Nights throwaway, and I know a lot of these songs were demos written during the Crazy Nights period, but Boomerang especially feels like a Bruce Kulick guitar solo that Gene just tried to write a song around. You know, in Extreme Close-Up, Gene talks about that B, you just want to kill that thing. Well, this song is a perfect example of that B, and I just don't like it. And my next track, another Gene song, Love is a Slap in the Face. Again, it just sounds like a Crazy Nights throwaway. There is nothing exciting about this song. It does not stick to my ribs at all. Number 14, Love is a Slap in the Face. Well, by now you will clearly see that I think Paul Stanley wrote the best songs on Hot in the Shade, as my number 13 pick is another Gene song, Cadillac Dreams. Cadillac Dreams is kind of funny to me. As a kid, I really liked it. Anymore, it's a total skipper. I cannot really listen to this song. I do have kind of an interesting story about Cadillac Dreams. In May of 1990, my best friend Dan and I went to see Kiss. It was our first time ever seeing Kiss at Bonner Springs, Kansas, an outdoor show. And as we had to wait outside of the gate, you could hear Kiss doing their sound check. And it was obviously the traveling keyboardist they had with them started playing the horn parts of Cadillac Dreams, which, this was back pre-internet days. We had no idea of what the set list was going to be, so immediately we thought, holy crap, they're going to play Cadillac Dreams. Of course, they did not, but every time I hear that song, I'm immediately taken back to that day. Number 12 on my list, Silver Spoon. As a kid, I hated this song, but for some reason, I think it was buying the Kiss box set that I actually kind of started to like this song. There was something with the verses that I liked. It kind of had that Paul Stanley charisma to it, but listening to it today, those background female vocals at the end are so ridiculous. I just do not like Silver Spoon, so it is my least favorite Paul Stanley track on Hot in the Shade. As a kid, I didn't really get the connection that Kiss was basically trying to write their own Def Leppard Pour Some Sugar on Me. As an adult, I can completely see that. That's why this song is kind of lower on the list. I do absolutely love the trade-off vocals between Gene and Paul at the end with the yas. That is one of my favorite things and will always be one of my favorite aspects of Kiss that I love. Those trade-off Gene and Paul vocals. Totally killer. Read My Body, not so much. Give me something to work with. Now please, hear me out, and do not shoot me for saying this. I love Eric Carr. I'm not a huge fan of Eric Carr's voice. I just don't think Eric Carr's voice has the rock and roll enthusiasm that I need in a song. I didn't care for his cover of Beth, and I don't care for Little Caesar. There's something kind of bland about Eric Carr's voice. I'm an Eric Carr fan, so please do not call me out. But I'm just not a fan of his voice. I even think Eric Singer's voice in All for the Glory has much more of a rock and roll rasp than Eric Carr's voice in Little Caesar. Hence, Little Caesar is coming in at number 9 on my list of favorite tracks from Hot in the Shade. Now, just a few minutes ago, I asked Gene Simmons, please give me something to work with. And he has. Number 8, Betrayed. Now, this is the Gene fire I have looked for on this record. Finally, some anger, some pissiness, some demon-type qualities. And if you think about it, the lyrics of Betrayed are very unlike Gene Simmons. They are very not so happy with life lyrics from Gene Simmons. The lyrics we would get from Gene later on Carnival of Souls, but very strange to see present on the Hot in the Shade record. Finally, a Gene song we can smile about. Or maybe not smile due to the lyrical content, but enjoy. Number 7, Forever. Call me a sap, but I like this song. As far as ballads go, I've never been a huge fan of I Still Love You. It's so long and just kind of drawn out. I love the thundering drums, but that song kind of puts me to sleep. Forever has such a great hook in it. I love its presence on Alive 3, and when I was a sophomore in high school and this record came out, it was very exciting to hear Kiss on the radio. It was very exciting to see Kiss on MTV again. Now granted, I had to take my bullets for this song being co-written by Michael Bolton. Kiss wrote a song with Michael Bolton. Punch, punch. I get it. Whatever. The song is a good song. It has such a great hook, and it's such a great power ballad of the time. Another good Gene song, The Street Giveth and The Street Taketh Away, co-written by current Kiss member Tommy Thayer. This song has some balls to it. It's such a cool number, kind of with that acoustic intro. Bam! Right into the hard part. It's a fun song. It's a typical Gene, pissy, angry, fire song. Therefore, moving on up on my list. And at number 5, somewhere between Heaven and Hell, probably my all-time favorite Gene track from this record. Has such a great opener with that guitar crunch and that cool riff. Love this song. And little history here, somewhere between Heaven and Hell was my answering machine song my sophomore year in high school. I'm sure my mom loved that. Literally played the intro to Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell before it went into the "You've reached our residence, we're not here right now, please leave a message after the tone." And right at the end of after the tone, it was the "Well, I'd have to be a mind reader, baby." Yeah, people want to sit through that when they call your house. Real good idea, 15-year-old Rick. I thought it was. Still kind of think it is. It was fun. I was a kid. I loved Kiss. Just having fun. And now that we are into the top 5 tracks from this record that I love the most, you're going to see a little trend with number 4 to number 1, and that trend's name is Paul Stanley. Number 4, Rise to It. What a great opening song to an album. I don't really get the kind of bluesy acoustic intro. I think that may have been kind of a sign of the times, maybe trying to do a little Cinderella, maybe trying to be a little Bon Jovi-ish with the song. Whatever. Intro away, the song kind of rocks, and it was a fun song to listen to, and a fun song to watch the video to, because if you remember, Gene and Paul donned the makeup once again for us kids. It was my first time actually seeing the band in makeup in real time. It was kind of nice for me. Granted, it was a money grab, trying to sell albums, trying to sell the tour, but it was fun nonetheless, and made me love Rise to It even more. Number 3, another Paul track, You Love Me to Hate You. I do not hate you, Paul Stanley, on this record, because I clearly think you were the victor of songwriting on this record. You Love Me to Hate You has such a great pre-chorus into that hook of a chorus with those harmony vocals. Such a great Paul Stanley song. A little more B-side-ish than A-side-ish, but such a great Paul Stanley song. And it's weird to think Paul had such, in my opinion, Paul had such great tracks on this record. During the Hot in the Shade tour, they actually had a marketing research team go out and ask audience members questions, and one of the questions was, what would you like to see on the next Kiss record? Well, the biggest answer of that was a Gene Simmons single. Wouldn't you know it? Revenge? Unholy. Weird how these things work out, isn't it? The Business of Rock and Roll. Number 2, King of Hearts. Such a great example of a Paul Stanley song. Brass, hooks, melody lines. Has that melody line that like travels through the verses. The kind of storytelling lyrics. Such a great song. Such a great hook. One of my absolute favorite tracks from this record. In fact, I think I'm going to listen to it right now. And listening to King of Hearts again reminds me of being a 15-year-old kid and dreaming of being a rock star myself. My best friend Dan and I formed a band. He played drums, I played guitar, and we would jam in my garage. And one night I was playing the intro to Halloween, the John Carpenter music, and suddenly realized that is kind of the beginning of King of Hearts. Couldn't play much more than the intro of King of Hearts, but we love to do that little guitar intro into that big bam bam. So many teenage rock and roll memories associated with this record, and it's probably one of the reasons it's closest to my heart. and my all-time favorite song from the Hot in the Shade record, Hide Your Heart. Great song, great chorus, great video. Well, not so great video, but fun to see Kiss on MTV in an actual video, kind of with a story, you know. They were just trying to be part of the times, and in the late 80s, early 90s, it was all about gang violence. Let's throw a PSA into our video. Man, Hide Your Heart is a favorite song of mine, regardless of being on this record, one of the records that is closest to my heart. I am so looking forward to hearing Hide Your Heart on the End of the Road tour. And that concludes my list. Number 15 to number 1. Number 1 being Hide Your Heart. I love the Hot in the Shade record. Granted, a lot of it is nostalgia. A lot of it is being a youngster, being a sophomore in high school and discovering Kiss and finally being a part of a major release. But pretty good songs nonetheless. Paul Stanley, clearly the songwriting victor on the record. A record that is so close to many of the fun memories I have in becoming a Kiss fan. Subscribe to this channel if you had some fun waxing the tracks of Hot in the Shade. The End of the Road tour means nothing to this channel. I will always find something fun about Kiss to talk about. Thank you for hanging with me. Take care, be safe, never stop waxing nostalgia, and I will talk to you soon.